Hi, this is Jerry Barras at United Financial Planning Group. A frequent question I receive from prospective clients is how do I add me as the advisor to the portfolio's performance over time? In terms of if I'm managing the portfolio on a percentage basis, can I quantify what I would add? And so there's been a couple of studies on this in terms of working with an advisor and how they add value, and they've attempted to quantify on an annual basis what that is. Really in a world right now where we have zero commission trades, we have robo-advisors, a lot of do-it-yourselfers. Consumers have definitely become much more cost-conscious about fees, both at the advisor level and also at the fund level, which is a good thing. So there's also been numerous regulatory changes, also a vast amount of information on the internet that consumers have access to. The industry itself is changing significantly, where fees have come down significantly. It hasn't been completely eliminated, but we are making progress. Is there a point where a client or an investor becomes so fixated on fees that they risk underperforming even the market indexes, or they make mistakes within their portfolio that could really hinder the performance of the portfolio and ultimately not fail to reach their goals? So anyone can become really penny wise and sort of pound foolish and miss the entire big picture, which is the performance of your assets. A colleague of mine made an analogy just recently about managing your own portfolio. You have do-it-yourselfer, really almost no financial training or very little. They decide to manage their entire retirement portfolio, which is fine, but ultimately if there's any misstep or any mistake, sometimes the effect of making the wrong decision can be very difficult to reverse. Could take years to kind of recoup some of the losses, or sometimes it's irreversible. The analogy that was made was equated to basically taking care of your own lawn, right? You can either turn it over to a professional who is trained to do this. So if the goal is to have a really beautiful lawn, manicured, that's robust, it takes a certain level of expertise. Knowing when to fertilize, knowing when to add chemicals, knowing when to water it properly, and the timing of all of these is important. If not done properly, basically, it could lead to taking a beautiful lawn and it becoming sort of overtaken by weeds and crabgrass. If you've ever taken care of your own lawn, like myself, you know how difficult it is to sort of reverse that trend. Sometimes it's impossible. You almost have to start over. I thought it was a pretty interesting analogy, but it's sort of kind of similar to managing one's assets. If you decide you are going to do it on your own, it's important that you really have an understanding of how to construct a portfolio in a way that's going to allow you to reach your goals, allow the portfolio to grow properly. So there are two studies performed that I reviewed just recently. One of them was performed by Morningstar a few years ago. It is called the Gamma Efficient Portfolio. And the study attempted to tried to assign values to some basic financial planning techniques that an advisor would employ in constructing the portfolio. And then the study tried to compare it to someone who would just do it on their own that wouldn't employ those techniques, and ultimately, what was the difference between the two in terms of performance over time? Some of the techniques that an advisor would employ in putting a portfolio was determining the optimal asset allocation depending on the risk level and the goals of the client, determining the appropriate asset classes, quality and the types of investments used, and the costs associated with those investments, when to rebalance at the appropriate time, tax efficiency, both in setting up the portfolio and within the withdrawal strategies, and then dynamic withdrawal strategies. So those types of techniques, what type of value is added in employing those techniques for the advisor versus doing it on your own. And the results of the study came up with a 2% increase in the actual performance of the portfolio annually. So 2%, pretty significant. When compounded that over time, that could easily amount to a significant amount of money over time. One of the things that this particular study excluded was behavioral bias, making the wrong decisions based on whether the market's volatile, whether trying to time the market, especially during periods of volatility. There's a second study that was performed by Vanguard, which added this to not only what Morningstar did, but just obviously took it a step further and said, okay, if we were able to quantify a client not reacting what's going on in the market and attempting to market time or not stick to a person's financial plan, what did that add to the overall performance? So that was an additional 1%. So in terms of Vanguard study, they came up with a 3% increase annually in the rate of return when working with an advisor. Both studies were pretty interesting. If you're interested, I can send you a copy of both studies. So if you'd like, please reach out to us either at the telephone number below, or you can click on that link below to schedule a few minutes to chat with me. Thank you.